Greetings. Today we're considering the messages to the seven churches, part 7 from Revelation 2 and 3. Today we begin with the promise to the church at Ephesus in the last part of Revelation 2:7. To him that overcometh, I will give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. This promise both reaffirms an old promise and supplies additional details to us. One, the promise reminds us that if we overcome, that is, gain the victory through faith, and are thereby saved by grace through faith, then we will be a part of this paradise of God. Two, it also supplies the new detail that we will be privileged to partake of the fruit of the tree of life. Compare this promises to the words of Revelation 22, verses 2 and 14, where it says, in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. Revelation 22:14 says, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. We drop down to verse 19 of Revelation 22, where it says, and if any man take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. Now we have to remember that these two statements must complement and not contradict one another. We must conclude that every believer will be included in the paradise of God, but not all will enjoy the privilege of partaking of this fruit. It is promised to be added to the overcomers in service after salvation. It is promised to be withheld from non-overcomers in service after salvation. So then let's look at the promises to Smyrna in Revelation 2:10, the last part of the verse, and the last part of verse number 11. He says in the last part of Revelation 2:10, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee the crown of life. While it may not be readily apparent to the casual reader, this promise teaches the security of the believer, that is, the eternal security of the believer. The word hurt carries the idea of injustice. Thus, the promise simply stated is that the one who overcomes will not be done the injustice of suffering the second death. Revelation 20:14 says again, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. That will not happen to believers. John 5:24, Jesus said, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me has everlasting life, present tense, and shall not come into condemnation. We call that a future emphatic negative. If you believe, you'll never come into condemnation, but is passed judicially from the status of being dead unto being alive. Revelation 2:11, the second part says, he that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. The means of obtaining this crown was previously stated for us in the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, the idea is after he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. The fact that there are varying types and quantities of crowns is emphatically declared in the scriptures, but that's another study in and unto itself. Further, it's also a certifiable fact that these crowns are received on the basis of our works, that is, righteous deeds done after salvation by grace through faith, and this fact is not disputable. Jesus Christ will make the final determination by fire at the coming judgment as to which works are worthy of reward. You find this in 1 Corinthians 3:13 through 15, and 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 8, which say, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, And the fire shall try every man's work of what sort or what kind it is. If any man's work abide which he hath built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. 2 Corinthians 10:18. For not he that commendeth himself is approved, but whom the Lord commendeth. Then the promises to Thyatira in chapter 2, verse 17, the last part, it says, to him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it. First, the promise of hidden manna. Then as now, we will be partakers of and partakers in Christ. There are things which have not been revealed to us now that will be revealed to us then. Jesus himself will be our pastor. He's called the minister of the sanctuary in Hebrews chapter 8. And the process of this ongoing ministry will be fed on this, quote, hidden manna. Second, the promise of the white stone, the token from Jesus for the victor, which contains a new name for the victor. It is stated that the victor alone will know this new name, implying an intimacy between the giver and the receiver of this name. It is a privilege and an honor to receive this new name. The receiving of the white stone denotes a special relationship between Jesus Christ and each believer who receives one. Some say, according to a prevailing custom of that day, that such a token was required for admission to a royal feast, like a wedding feast, like we use a ticket for admission to events today. And as such, this token might be the requirement for admission to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Consider the implication. According to our overcoming in this life, we can earn a new name and admission to the marriage supper of the Lamb.